Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has now called for the closure of the UN Palestinian Refugee Agency or UNRWA. Israel has accused some UNRWA staff of involvement in the 7th October Hamas terror attacks in southern Israel, which triggered the war in Gaza. Donors, including the United States, have paused funding to UNRWA pending an investigation. But aid agencies say ending UNRWA operations would wreck humanitarian efforts in the devastated Gaza Strip. Netanyahu met with a delegation of UN ambassadors from Eastern European and other countries in Jerusalem on Wednesday and told them it's time that the international community and the UN itself understand that UNRWA's mission has to end. He also said an alternative aid organization should be found to solve the problem of Gaza. The Palestinians have accused Israel of falsifying information to tarnish UNRWA, which was set up to help refugees of the war at the time of Israel's founding in 1948. More than half of Gaza's population looks to the UNRWA for day-to-day assistance. Earlier, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres described the UNRWA as the backbone of all humanitarian response in Gaza and appealed to all countries to guarantee the continuity of UNRWA's life-saving work. Meanwhile, Israel continues its attacks in the southern city of Khan Yunis and other areas in Gaza. The Palestine Red Crescent Society said the Al-Amal hospital in Khan Yunis reported on Wednesday that 7 people had been killed. Health authorities in Gaza say hospitals including Al-Amal have run out of food, with people's lives now under threat. They also say the death toll from the Israeli attacks on the enclave has reached almost 27,000. According to senior U.S. State Department officials, Secretary of State Antony Blinken will soon travel to the Middle East. Once again, Blinken is expected to discuss the negotiations mediated by the U.S., Qatar and other countries for the release of hostages still held by Hamas and a pause in the fighting. This would be Blinken's 5th visit to the Middle East since the conflict between Israel and Hamas began last October. The United States, meanwhile, struck about 10 unmanned drones in Yemen amid escalating tensions from the war in Gaza spreading through the region. A U.S. Navy ship also shot down 3 Iranian drones and a Houthi anti-ship ballistic missile in the Gulf of Aden.
The ICJ charging us with genocide against, really in the service of a genocidal organization. Now, the worst thing that I can say is this, that many of the charges, false and unfounded, that were leveled against us in The Hague were brought by UNRWA officials. And we have discovered in the last few weeks that UNRWA officials were complicit in the massacre. And I think it's time that the international community and the UN itself understand that UNRWA's mission has to end. UNRWA is self-perpetuating. It is self-perpetuating also in its desire to keep alive the Palestinian refugee issue. And we need to get other UN agencies and other aid agencies replacing UNRWA if we're going to solve the problem of Gaza as we intend to do.